What's up, what's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering the blog post that was just put out from Infinity Ward, basically covering all the things we can expect so far going into Season 2. We're of course going to be focused on DMZ, and it's not going to be like the other day where they just put out a few teases on Twitter. There's actually a little bit of depth to this post, so we'll be able to understand some of the things that they plan on changing or some of the things that will be new content going into Season 2. The first thing they dive into is enemy tuning. In Season 1, the AI and DMZ were challenging, but the ramp-up difficulty was often steep, with some players getting overwhelmed. With Season 2, they've introduced a number of balance changes to adjust the types of AI spawning, the numbers in which they spawn in, and the accuracy of some of these AIs at ranges, which should hopefully keep a challenging but still manageable play space that still requires players to respect the enemy combatants in the DMZ. But they don't want to make it so easy to where you basically just don't have to worry about a thing and you just plow through all the enemies, but they currently know that some of the AIs spawn in too many numbers and can be very overwhelming, especially if you don't have access to more plates. Maybe you're running solo. There's a lot of avenues in which the AI are overpowered, so getting some balance in this avenue is going to be great. Spawn points. They're tuning some of the infill points across Al for improved early match experience based on gameplay data. Starting at a point which your squad feels isolated or without loot and contract opportunities is not a good experience, so they want to make some tweaks. This can be good. There are some spawn spots that are just overall not that great. So hopefully with some of these adjustments, it will overall just improve the experience early on, especially if you spawn in with nothing. Mission difficulty tuning. Data and feedback reinforced that the faction mission difficulty ramp was too aggressive for many of the players, and that the demanding scale ultimately made it very challenging to unlock that second insured weapon slot. Completing all of the tier 3 missions is what you actually had to do that for Season 1. So they've adjusted the overall scaling of difficulty in missions as the tiers progress. Later tier missions will still be quite challenging, even for the experienced operator, but they believe a more straightforward access to the additional insured weapon slot will make a better experience for all players. So we can expect tiers 1 through 3, it seems like at this point, to be a little bit easier than they have been in the past, but we can still expect tier 4 and 5 to be pretty challenging. Now they are covering the crashes. They know there's a lot of crashes, especially impacting people in DMZ, because obviously when you crash, you lose your loot, your contraband weapons. All of those things are an issue, so they're going to be addressing and prioritizing fixing crashes in the beginning of Season 2. So I'm pretty excited about that, because I've had so many frustrating situations where this was the culprit. Seasonal refresh. Now this is probably the most interesting part of all of the things that they've talked about so far. All new missions are coming to Season 2, which we kind of had an idea, including a refresh of your current faction mission progress and an inventory, which your contraband and keys reset. So I don't know exactly what this means for sure, but it sounds like we're going to get a reset of our current missions. Maybe we'll have tiers 1 through 5 available again through the current 3 factions, and maybe we'll get an additional faction with additional tiers as well. But I think that's pretty interesting, as they will detail all the need to know intel for DMZ ahead of the Season 2 in another blog. So it seems like we'll get another blog within the next month or so before the Season 2, and it will detail this further. So far, from what I can tell, they just want to make more missions available, or at least do a mission reset. So it sounds like we'll all be getting a reset, and have the missions actually correlate to the different maps. So instead of having tiers 1 through 5 for 3 factions, and pretty much all of them are Al based, we might have the 3 factions, maybe even 4, 5 tiers for each, and we'll have missions going to each of the individual maps. You'll be able to select the new maps or any location that you're trying to go to, just like you do currently with Building 21 and Al Mazrah. We'll have that new map location there, and we should have challenges that fit all of these different locations and places you'll have to go to at each of these places in order to complete those new missions. So the last thing is going to be locations, which we just kind of touched on as well. There will be a new exclusion zone, which is going to be that resurgence map. With Season 2, players will then have that third option, like we said, when deploying into DMZ. The faction mission refresh will also provide new missions that send you across these destinations, including the Building 21. So before, there wasn't a lot of reason to go into Building 21 except for to do the weapon cases. Now they'll give some more reason to hit the individual locations or the different areas or maps that they have. Overall, I'm extremely excited for Season 2. I'm really interested in seeing how this seasonal refresh goes. Will players be able to complete the missions from the past? Will there be any way to know who completed what missions from the past? I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out with the future updates to come. But I'm pretty excited again for Season 2. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys are excited. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support on the channel, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.